What turns you on?
Sincerity.
Where does she work?
Houston's.
Hey, all you cats and kittens, Carol Baskin definitely killed her husband. Whoa, we got some shows. We got some fun shows coming up, like this weekend in La Jolla, California, San Diego, for the fancy bitches. We're doing a bunch of shows, 3 nights, the 29th, 30th, and 31st of July at the Comedy Store, one of my favorite clubs. Come out and see me, La Jolla, San Diego, Comedy Store. Tickets at AdamRayComedy.com. And then the weekend after that, Boston, August 5th and 6th at Laugh Boston in Boston, Massachusetts. August 7th, we're sticking around to do shows at the Music Hall in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Come out and see me, New Hampshire. First time there. Can't wait. The Music Hall. Heard of it? August 12th and 13th in Seattle at Laughs Comedy Club. Come out and see me there. And then August 19th through the 21st at TK's Comedy Club in Addison, Texas. That's Dallas proper, baby. All these tickets at AdamRayComedy.com, where you can get my merch, my specials on YouTube, live at San Francisco, live at Madison, on my YouTube page, Adam Ray Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And I think that's it. Go Mariners, be good to yourself, and enjoy this episode with one of my favorite comics, one of my favorite people, Nick Thune. He's a gangster. He's hilarious. He's a sweetheart. Type in his name on Google and YouTube and Netflix and Amazon and watch all his shit. He's one of the best, and this episode slaps. Let's do it.
Hey, it's Herbert. And you're listening to the About Last Night podcast, you slippery little son of a bitch.
About last night.
Cheers to the 206 and the
425.
Was that your code?
Well, that's somewhere around my teens. They changed the east side of Seattle to 425.
How dare they?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I spoke to a few people about it.
You strike me as someone that would go to a town hall meeting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am a notary.
That's right.
Publicly.
For real?
No, but
I'm gullible.
Yes, no, I want to be. I got something notarized this week, by the way.
Go on.
Yeah, my wife is my ex-wife.
Yeah. Whew. Congrats.
God, we almost just got back together in this podcast.
I saw you. Yeah.
So my ex-wife is taking him up to Canada, and you can't had to sign some document and have it notarized that I was aware.
Whoa.
That she might keep him there forever.
That's a possibility?
That she can't keep him there
Again,
forever.
I'm very gullible. You're a great actor. Is there...
I'd love to do some acting on this podcast.
I have some scenes if you want a cold read.
Yeah.
For real?
I would love to.
Okay. Stick around. There'll be... we just teased a very exciting segment coming up. Born and raised in what part of Seattle?
Well, I was born in Tacoma. And
Nice.
I was raised...
And you brag about that.
Yeah, I was raised in the church, and we moved out of the church when I was, I guess, 2.
Yeah.
Moved into a house in Redmond.
Redmond's nice.
Yeah. Went to Redmond High School, then ended up graduating at Juanita. It's all, this is all
On
public
your Wikipedia
information.
page, yeah. People should know this about Nick Thune. He's awesome. See how my mic just went up? It was like, dude.
Huh?
There's only probably been a few times where I have skipped sets to stick around to watch people, and you're definitely one of those.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, because it's cool to even just be here, and I think I told you this last time you were on, which was I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, at my old apartment when we had a dwarf. Yeah. And Brad's here. He's just under the table.
Yeah, I was going to say, does he just,
he pops up now.
You misplaced him somewhere around here?
He became a dad, and as you know, was like, I just want to focus on that and comedy. But yeah, there's, when I first even saw you, I was just starting down here, and I'd known of you from the Seattle stuff, because I feel like people, especially when it's in your world, and you start to kind of know of the people that came from there that are doing cool shit, you're like, Oh man, and you and I think Brody Stevens are the first people I go that I saw in doing cool shit, and I was like, they came from Tacoma, and Brody's from not Seattle, but spent a lot of time there.
Yeah,
I watched him on public access. Brody Stevens, R.I.P. He would follow Shannon Kringen. Did you ever watch her?
No,
on public access.
No, but I did watch. I mean, I think that was when I watched public access. It was before then.
Gotcha.
Because what year are you?
I graduated high school in 2001.
Okay, I'm a 98, so we're not that far off.
No,
yeah,
it's in the same boat.
Yeah,
you look better though.
I'd love to get on that boat again.
Well, I'll make some calls.
Okay.
Do you rep Seattle hard?
I do. The thing about Seattle is, I mean, I am not a nostalgic person.
Yeah.
In fact, nostalgia
drives you crazy.
It does. It makes me sad. It like makes me.
Whoa.
It just, I don't know. And I really love living in the now. And I'm a California kid now. Like I've been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
My son was born in California. I mean, I love Seattle. I go back.
Yes.
And a lot of the things, my hobbies are all Northwest-based, fishing, skiing, all the things that I still do in my life, camping.
Yeah.
But I've just fallen in love with California. I mean, how do you not fall in love with?
It's awesome here.
Yeah.
It's also we're the place that houses our profession.
And I was a huge Mariners fan. I mean, I went to so many games. I was telling somebody about this game I went to that Bo Jackson actually came out on a Harley. Onto the field? In the Kingdom. Yeah, I went to go, and I was so excited to see Frank Thomas for the White Sox.
Awesome.
And Bo Jackson, I forget what it was. It was like his 1,000th game or some milestone in his career, and he came out in a Harley.
Oh, man.
And, I mean, Bo Jackson was my hero.
Bo knows Harleys.
Yeah.
Was there much that Bo Jackson didn't know?
They're actually still doing research on that.
Yeah. There's that 30 for 30 where he was sharpening arrows. I'm like, Bo knows arrows. Bo knows.
At the end, he like pulls the arrow out and he goes, and he licks.
What?
He licks the back of the arrow.
Awesome.
Lets it fly.
Also terrifying.
And that's a shot they used in that Kevin Costner Robin Hood video. Was Bo Jackson doing that?
Kevin Costner Robin Hood video.
Yeah, for the Bryan Adams song.
Look into my eyes.
You'll see what
you mean to me. Bryan Adams.
Search your soul.
Yep. Search your heart.
Search your heart. And then you find there's something you can't search no more. It can't tell you.
The Water World's not a good flick.
It isn't.
It isn't. And they will tell you that. Costner's done a lot of good shit.
Costner's amazing.
Do you think he lies in bed and goes, fuck, why did I say yes? Probably not, because that probably bought him like a cabin or a Bo Jackson Harley ride.
I mean, I know that he almost cost Cal Ripken his career.
Who did? Costner?
Yeah.
How?
It's a story. I don't want to tell the story live.
Oh, man.
It's a real story.
Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Cal Ripken, and I'm going to throw Billy Ripken in there, Cal's brother, because I feel like Cal is the type of brother almost like Chris Rock with Tony Rock, where he's like, I do some cool shit, you're coming along. People know of you. You're also great. Come see what Cal Ripken's life looks like.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner, big baseball fan. Everyone loves Field of Dreams. Cal Ripken probably fucks to it. And
a couple buzzwords you're using here are good.
So Cal and Costner, which, fuck, TLC if you're listening, that should follow my 600-pound life. Cal and Costner, put them in a hot air balloon.
You're great with TV show titles.
Put them with a hot air balloon and send them around the globe, sponsored by fucking, I don't know, Celsius.
Yeah.
And just see what sort of hijinks they get up to. Now, does the story involve Costner and Cal doing some stuff that led them into the wee hours of the evening to where Cal was like, yo, dude, I got a game in 45 minutes. And Costner was like, pussy.
There's a lot. There's a lot of that could line up. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing is that the reason I don't want to tell the story is because it's rumor, although I have had it confirmed from the announcer that was supposed to announce the game. He's still a sports radio guy.
Announced Cal's last game.
No, not the last game, just a game.
Oh.
And something happened. It almost ruined his record. You know, the record that he got. It was the year that he won. It was the year that he was going to pass whatever that was. Anyway, look it up online. It's but I don't want to like tell it and have it be a clip somewhere that like, I revealed the story to the world.
Now, that's a story that's not yours, so does it not fall under the I don't like nostalgia category? It's got to be. So if you go back home, you meet up with some high school buddies, and somebody goes, Nick, dude, remember when? Do you just go, I'm going to stop you right there?
Problem is I don't remember. My memory is also horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really bad. It is. It's.
How do you remember your jokes? Muscle memory?
I can remember all the things that I think. Like, like all the things that I've thought up and written down and created. Wow. Those things are all kind of accessible to me. But I mean, I've had people remind me of stories from high school that sound amazing.
Yeah.
And that sound like something I would use and talk about in talk shows. Like, yeah, I remember this time in high school, I ran to school and ended up raising money for the, Hutchinson's to do something.
Yeah. Hutchinson's is not a real disease,
no,
I don't think.
It could be.
I think you're thinking of Hodgkin's and the Fred Hutch Research Center. Yeah. And you combined them.
Yeah, the money ended up going. We didn't know where it went.
Some kid came up to me at my sister's. I performed at my sister's 20-year reunion from Shorecrest High School. And this kid comes up to me. I want to say his name's Brett Von Hoffman. Shout out Brett Von Hoffman. His sister was a year below me. Brett was my sister's age, but I was a year below. We all knew each other. Ray's, Von Hoffman's, collided in a cul-de-sac at some point. Brett comes up and goes, dude, congrats on everything, man. I was like, thanks, man. He's like, dude, do you remember when you – and as soon as he just launches that, I go, this isn't going to be something I want to remember. But go on, Brett. And he goes, do you remember when you came to my house once and we ate dog bones? And I go, I don't. And he goes, yeah, it was your idea. He goes, I didn't want to do it, and you said we had to. And I go, Brett, that doesn't sound like me. And he goes, it was you, man. You and me ate dog bones, and it was your idea.
You got milk bone breath over here.
He was like, oh, you don't remember that? You remember doing that after you swallowed that thing, dude? I didn't want it. I was like slowly nibbling.
Oh, my God.
It's not the memory I wanted to recount. Okay, so if someone's screaming from one of your shows,
I actually have a reunion story.
Please, the floor is yours.
I for the 10-year reunion, I didn't graduate from Redmond High School. I got kicked out my junior year, and I ended up graduating at Juanita, which is in like Bothell, Kirkland or something. And
Adam Morrison went there, I think.
Oh, okay.
Great basketball player.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that went there, even while I was there.
I went to Juanita to watch a high school get him play, and he went to college. Didn't go pro, but was amazing. But it was a cool school.
Mm-hmm.
On the water?
No. I don't know if that school's never seen water.
That's where the Hutchinson's disease was started.
Well, so Redmond High School asked me to perform at the 10-year anniversary, graduation at the 10-year anniversary.
Amazing.
Whatever they call those things.
Reunion.
And I said no. And then I ended up putting a lot of thought into it and came up with an idea. And so I called him and I said, I'll do it. The thing about stand-up, though, is you need somebody to kind of warm the crowd up. So I'm going to have a local comedian warm the crowd up for me.
Great call.
And
you can go out cold. But
yeah. Well, but my plan was this, though. So here's what happened is I went to a trophy store in Redmond and got a trophy about that tall. They just let me use it for the night. And I got a friend of mine that actually his brother worked at the hotel that we were having the reunion at.
Awesome.
Had him come in on his off night and wear his hotel uniform just for this bit.
Oh.
And so the guy that I had opening for me was an actor that I hired off Craigslist. And I just said, here's a script, okay? You need to go up and say this. I'm going to tell them, you're a comedian, okay?
Yeah.
But I gave him the name tag. It was Phil from the Alumni Association as the name
Awesome.
tag. So he goes up, he's got an envelope, and I go, he's doing a bit, so introduce him as Phil from the Alumni Association. Everyone's like, okay, whatever. And so Phil goes up, and he opens it up, and he's like, well, ladies and gentlemen, Phil from the Alumni Association. And he walks up, and he goes, well, it's about that time. It's good to see Cindy and the staff, and a lot of memories here. And
so many.
It's time for the award. We're going to give out the award now for the most successful student of this class. And I can't wait to see. I know there's a lot of people that have done some great things, but let's just open it up and see. Oh, my. Nick Thune. In comes an employee from the hotel holding this huge trophy.
People
and
clap?
I stood up just like, what? And went up. And the thing was they did not, no one understood what was happening. So And then I went up and proceeded to give like a thank you speech for this thing, but shitting on the school because I didn't even graduate from the school. Like they wouldn't even let me graduate, but they wanted me to perform at the reunion. So I was just like, it's so great to know that I can't, you don't graduate somewhere and then you get a little bit of success and then Nick, we want to come you back. We'll give you an honorary degree. We're so sorry, whatever. But it just fell flat. And
because everyone there probably finished and has Juanita High School pride.
Yeah.
Bubbling through their veins.
Redmond High School pride. And I graduated at Juanita.
Gotcha.
But in the end, it was just like, there was some good jokes in it, but it just fell totally flat. Oof. And I just like, all right, thanks. Walked off the stage with this trophy, and they were like, we're never going to ask him to do anything again.
Worth it, though. Was there one kid at least that was just like, Thune?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple that were like,
That makes it worth it.
Will you fuck our wives?
You're her hall pass on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But since I'm not 90.
Be my hall. That's a great tour.
Be my hall pass?
Like, I'll be your hall pass.
Hall pass is also a great band name.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a hall pass or those like couple people, the people for you and your ex-wife have like, if you ever meet Stamos or if you ever meet Katy Perry?
No.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that's always when couples, and this is just off of knowing one couple that had those and they split up.
Mm-hmm.
To me, so
it actually fulfilled it.
No, but it was like the beginning of the end because she was always just like she'd bring it up a lot to where you're like, oh, she's trying to make this happen. Where it was like she'd be going on these trips and be like, yeah, there's this like convention for work and it's weird because it's where they're filming the new Die Hard, so Bruce Willis will be there, so and I don't know, it's I think I'm actually staying at the same hotel, like it was that type of shit where you're like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work out.
Mm-hmm. What if you make it? They're like, yeah, you can choose one person. You're like, okay, your sister. Sorry, I don't know. I'm just saying, I've always wanted to.
Yeah. And look, I know the holidays haven't matched up, but next year we're supposed to go to Saratoga. And
Sarah is going to toga.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then that joke makes her laugh, and she's got a good sense of humor, so she gives in.
Yeah.
Saratoga. What a place. There's certain places you go, like Tacoma, even as much as it gets a bad rap. It's a cool name.
Toyota
Tacoma.
Yeah.
That's a car, right?
Yeah.
Toyota of Tacoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they do have a Toyota in Tacoma, a Toyota store.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but you know what they sell there?
Heroin.
Toyota Tacomas.
Oh.
Yeah.
What video did I just see of, you and your son, which, by the way, man, congrats on being a dope dad.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's really, you have figured out the, like, how to include my son in fun content game, but it's also like, you can just read between the lines and see how much, he adores you and how much you love him. And that's really sweet. And I pick up on that, and it makes the videos you post with him even more special. One in particular you did with him, doing a song. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Recently.
Where you were playing guitar, and I don't even remember what the song was called or the caption. I could pull it up. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like, I'm Dad or something. I don't know. It was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
were there actual lyrics, or was he just improvising?
No, we were like messing around.
Yes.
And he heard me do my verse because I was just doing that verse. Because what happens around the house is we'll do like we call our own free times, where I can do whatever I want for an hour and he can do whatever he wants for an hour.
Awesome.
And so usually
something you just came up with as a dad, or were you like...
He pitched it, to be honest, one night.
What?
Yeah, he's like...
How old is he?
He's 8.
Awesome.
So I'll a lot of time play guitar and like write music or something during that time. And then he just kind of came over and started doing it with me.
First time?
And mimicked my... No, we do it all the time.
Yeah.
But he mimicked my verse that I did. And I just thought it was so funny. But yeah, he's usually doing Legos during that time.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you Lego it with him?
I do. Yeah, we do a lot of it. We're building a battle scene right now from Star Wars. We got a table. We bought like all those flat kind of pieces, and we're just like constructing this. It's a lot, man. It's taking up a lot of my life right now.
In fact, if we could cut this pod off, I've got to get back to put together the rest of the Millennium Falcon. I was a Lincoln Log kid. I don't know if that's, and I want to say Lincoln Logs. I think I had them when my folks were together, but then I think when I split, Legos were never Lincoln Logs seemed like the cheaper, like, because it was the bigger pieces.
Lincoln Logs are great.
Lincoln Logs, but it was definitely like pretty easy to figure it out. It was like you just stack, the pieces are bigger, almost like bigger font when you're an older person.
If you watch that show Alone or whatever it is, where they go out in the woods, and they have to like live for however long. I mean, that's just Lincoln.
All your
Logs
Lincoln
right
Log
there.
training.
Yeah,
should pay off.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think a Lego kid can? What does that translate into? An engineer?
Yes, art. I think so. He the thing is learning how to do Legos outside of the instructions, and so it's like to take the instructions and make whatever they have, but also be able to kind of like take a side road out of it and add your own little element. Like we have the Millennium Falcon that we added a hot tub to it. Like we'll just like go in and add little parts to these things. And he was training with this Lego guy named Adam, who has this show on he had this called Bricks, and it was on like Brick by Brick or something, and it was on Amazon. And I saw the guy, and then I saw Rainn Wilson produce the show. I was like, I emailed Rainn like, hey, can my son meet this Lego guy? And he's like, yeah, sure.
Awesome.
And so next thing you know, we go to his factory, and my son made like his name on this huge wall. And then the New York Times did a piece on him. And one of the photos they used was a photo of just his name on the wall because they like loved the way it looked.
That's incredible.
But this guy was doing hour-long Zooms with my son where they were like building, like he was like dropping off. This was during the pandemic. So he was like dropping off in bags, like cheaper Legos, like the kind of pieced together, like dinosaurs, the stuff that he doesn't really care about.
Right.
And then going sideways with him and like him and like over Zoom, like building random stuff. And the like thought process of that whole thing and like the creativity, it just really pushes it. It's good.
He's super fortunate to have you as I can't imagine that also how funny he was in that video, that the comedy chops, you don't not have a funny dad and not get a piece of that, right?
Yeah, my dad was really funny.
For real?
He is, yeah. He is really funny.
Yeah.
In
what ways?
My dad, he's patient, and he
you definitely have that.
Like this patience of like waiting for the right time for a joke, waiting for the right time to get a laugh, or he knows how to command a room, and everyone always wants to listen to him, and his timing was really dry, like Martin Mull kind of, which is kind of one of my idols too. And so I would just like watch him like, run the room. It was always fun. Like the best way to explain the way that he was is if you're at a restaurant and there's like 8 people sitting around a table, and they come over to take orders and they're circling the table. And if the waiter's on, like the waiter walks up and my dad's in the middle of a story, and then that's a story killer right there. The waiter is going to start taking orders. Yeah. Takes the whole table out of the story.
Big pet peeve of mine, by the way.
My dad just sits back. Story's over, whatever. He's not even in the story. Everyone takes their order, and then the second the last order's taken, the waiter walks away. Somebody at the table will say, "You were saying, Eric?" Because they want to hear the story. They want to see him finish it. He's not going to come back to it. He's not going to force a story back onto people. Like that's his patience.
He wouldn't say to the waiter,
okay, now that the waiter's gone, I was in the middle of something. Do you guys
or stiff arm the waiter and be like, "Come back." So the hot tub's there.
Which, by the way, my favorite bit to do when I'm out to dinner with like a group of people that I don't know, I always like to go last, take my order last, and everyone's kind of like waiting, everyone's kind of listening at that point. And I think I'll take, I guess I'll do the chicken, and I guess that'll be on the house. Thank you. and it works. I mean, it's never on the house, but
right.
Get
a laugh.
Oh, I love life laughs. Like cool. The little bits you can do around people,
especially with strangers.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying like, so there's been many dinners you've been at with a group where you're like, it's all first time meetups.
Yeah, or if it's like if you're like, if you have a new girlfriend and you go out to dinner with her and her friends. Yeah. Like, it's a risk I'm willing to take. Because
right out of the gate too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because if the waiter gives you a stink eye. And nobody at the table laughs.
I also will find out if I like these people at all.
Great way to do it.
Based off if they respond to that.
Yeah. I think that's a smart way. There's a buddy of mine that manages a comedy club, and he says when he interviews people, he makes them, as part of the process, tell them a joke to get tell him a joke to get a gauge of like their sensibility, and like, not that they have to be funny, but like you're at a comedy club, I should know what you're into. And if is also a great way just to be like, it says a lot about who you are, because he goes, one guy did some like really weird Holocaust joke that was also like racist, and he goes, man, you put a lot like, and then the kid at the end of it, like, because he didn't laugh. Obviously, my buddy who was trying to hire him, and the kid was like, "You don't get it?" And he was just like, "It's a lot to unpack here, but we'll start with you just getting up and walking out."
You can unpack.
Yeah, he was like, "That was an easy non-hire," and I was like, "That is a good way to." I mean, comedy. There's, there are definitely people. There's probably people that I've, chosen to go, "Oh, I'm going to steer clear," because they didn't have a good sense of humor versus like a political thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like love, love Trump all you want, but if you can't appreciate a good fart joke.
I mean, that's my whole goal on stage is to be stupid. Like I and this is something that has it's happened more often, and actually, than some people would be embarrassed to say this, but there's times where I tell a joke and I hear someone in the audience lean over to whoever they're with, kind of mid whatever, chuckle, like, and basically say, "That was so stupid." And that is like my whole goal was that.
Whoa.
My whole goal is to do something so stupid in a way that catches you off guard, that makes no sense, but in the end it made sense in some weird way.
Yeah.
Or,
You're the king of misdirect. Even one last night, I don't know if this is a newer one, the bloody nose one.
That's I dug that one out.
Great.
An older one. I don't know why, I just felt like
it was. I mean, I don't want to butcher it, but or even do it. Maybe if you bust a guitar out later, you can lay it down. But it was so funny, and even the ending of it about.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'll do the joke. I mean,
okay.
It's just I woke up this morning and I had a bloody nose, and what if I said that with a British accent? It would sound like a British guy woke up and realized, "I've got a fucking nose." like he was dreaming about not having one, then he woke up and realized he had one. And when I say it, it just sounds like there's some blood on my pillow, which is why I hate being an American.
Yeah. It's so funny. And it got like laughs in different pockets, and then it kept going. And then we said, "That's why I hate being an American." That got like a big pop. And it was like, there's no way to see that coming.
No. And that wasn't even part of the joke, I think.
Oh, really?
Originally, that was like, you write the joke off stage and then you go on, and then 10 times into doing the joke, you're ending on, "And that's why I hate being an American." You're like, "Well, I'm glad I found that."
How different is it when you're doing jokes with the guitar and not? Do you feel like you can be as free and riff and improv, or do you feel like you need to be a little bit more, obligated to stick to the script?
I feel very free in all of it, because
Always.
this even happened more from the pandemic. I am more myself on stage after taking those years off because of how much I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. I wanted what I love, and I realized how much of myself I want to be, and I don't want to conform to what works. Like, I don't want to conform to what, like if somebody like to the back of the room. I don't want to perform to other comedians. I am there for solely the audience and me. And I realized that my job is to take them out of the room. And so to take them out of the room, I had to do something different than every other comedian's done, which I take control right away. And it's like, I don't know if you like, I really kind of like watched it for a while, and I don't know how I do it, but there's a way to where I learned how to just kind of stop the room for a second, and then it's mine. And then they're all just like at my beck and call.
Yeah.
Whether they're laughing or not, really. I honestly don't care.
But you have
the silence is beautiful to me.
I'm starting to really enjoy it. And that there is a lot of there's a lot to discover in the silence. There's a lot of power in that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always admired, and back to just being a fan of you from the get-go, like and you talk about being a patient, your dad being patient. You definitely picked up on that, because, I struggle with that even now, of just trying to take my time more and not power through things. And I feel like it definitely has become a part of, like, it's how I am off stage when I'm talking or thinking, and sometimes my brain's moving too fast for my mouth to catch up. But when I have always watched you, it's just so the command that you have of the room with taking your time like that is pretty crazy.
It's nice because the patience is, it's funny, like it's like acting, like you have to there's lines you need to get out, okay? And you got to get them out. Preferably pretty quickly. Like, you know, you don't really want to take a lot of time. You want to get the lines out.
Tell that to Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I mean,
tell that to some people for sure. And they're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
They've earned that,
yeah.
you know? But knowing when to get it out is like is where I like really focus on. Like, cause I know like, oh, if I'm really patient right here and I really fall and sell this part, it'll make this part way bigger, even though right now I'm not getting all the glory, because right now I'm doing a little bit of legwork with them.
Yeah.
And I'm setting up a scenario to where they're about to be taken out of, but I have to set it up and I have to kind of make them think, where's he going? Like, why? And that's kind of hard to do sometimes on stage. So like, you know, like especially when I started, like, I just want laughs. Like, I just want to get laughs right now. I just want to get into a joke.
You're not comfy in the silence.
Yeah.
You're like, if there's silence, I'm not doing something right, because they should be laughing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you write more during the pandemic?
I didn't realize how much I was writing, to be honest. I was writing a lot, and I wasn't calling it writing. I wasn't like thinking I was writing stand-up. I was like doing small little things in my Instagram and my stories and like just funny, weird notes. And I wrote so many songs and all these things, and all of those kind of trickle into different forms of how I like my outlets, which is like music or comedy, but a lot of it like will trickle down into comedy. And all of a sudden I realized like, oh my God, I was not slacking off at all.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because and even though it feels a little bit removed from where we are now, I mean, I still find it fascinating to like talk to somebody like you about like what your thought process was, even when things shut down, because some people went right into panic mode and other people were like, fuck yeah, dude, a nice little break where I don't have to feel the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And then like for me, for example, I'd say about a month in, after figuring out the balance of like, oh, it's going to be a minute before things resume, and understanding what was happening and how much to really let yourself be terrified of the actual concerns of the world, did you kind of find a place of like, all right, well, now I'm going to, like, the pressure has been lifted of needing to be super active, but also it feeds me. Mm-hmm. So I'm needing to do it on some front, not just to put out content during the pandemic, but to not crumble.
You know, it's funny, like I'm focusing right now on surrender, which is like a thing, because if I can't surrender, I can't create. So if I can't realize that where I am is where I am, and anxiety and future thinking, future tripping, past thinking, past tripping, none of it's going to get me out of that moment.
Yeah.
So I have to be in this moment. So really I have to surrender all of those things around that so that I can actually be in the moment, you know? And
wow.
And it's like come through like financial struggles, you know, different things in my life where I've had to be like, right now, if I were to like spell out all the issues going on with me, somebody would be like, you're going through all of that?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah.
You're going through a divorce and you had to move and you're living and you had to, and like, you know, like I'm constantly through this whole thing. Like I've been going through a lot of life stuff and being able to surrender that. But
how do you get to that place of surrender with all that going on?
Is that, well, it's because I know that I'm not slacking off.
Yeah.
I know that I'm actually doing things, and the only way I can do things is if I do the surrender. And that's actually the hardest thing, but I learn it through constant conversation with myself and people around me that I, you know, because I do have people that I just talk to about like more than, you know, than we're funny and like everything, but like
gotta have
about surrendering, about like calling somebody and being like, dude, I am holding on to something way too tight right now. And it's getting me nothing. And I just had to say that. Now I know it. Okay, bye.
You realize too, way more people are probably down to have that conversation and are experiencing them themselves. But there is something I think that everyone just innately possesses of like not wanting to burden someone, and also being like, at least speak for myself, of like, oh, just figure it out and don't like try to, you know, but in reality, it's like, yeah, dude, that little conversation could even help the person that you're unloading onto.
It always does. You know, it's funny, like listening to somebody, it helps you. It's this whole like thing in like the Alcoholics Anonymous kind of like mindset that service is actually help. Service is by you doing that, you're surrendering and you're gaining out of it. It's almost unfair and it's almost selfish that you're helping people. You know, like in some way, like like me checking in on somebody, I walk away from that like feeling good. Like, oh yeah, that's not looming in my head. That's not a thought. Like, I wonder how Kevin is, like, how about I call Kevin, find out how he is. And then I'll feel like,
which is what Cal was thinking.
Kevin knows a friend reached out. Yeah. I can't wait to tell you that story. But there was a joke though that I wrote. This is what changed my whole writing process during the pandemic. Was I woke up one morning and I had a real thought in bed, and I'm not claiming to be the smartest guy in the world and book read and all that stuff, but
do you read a lot of books?
Off and on. I kind of go through little things.
I think the last book I read was Where the Sidewalk Ends. By the way,
did you find out where?
Like Fairfax and Wilshire.
Yeah, yep. That actually turns into Martell there.
It's where the most bird scooters get dropped off.
Where Hauser and Martell just kind of meet up.
Shel Silverstein lives on Hauser.
But I woke up and I thought...
what time was this, by the way?
It was one of the days I don't have my kids, so it was probably like 10 a.m. or something, and I'm laying in bed and I'm wondering about the word cupboard. Like I'm like looking at cupboards and I'm like, I know there's got to be 2 B's in there, and then I'm thinking, no, it's cupboard. I'm going through this whole,
that's what I think.
It's got to be cupboard,
yeah.
And then in some ways I'm like, well, laptop, like
still don't know how to spell
where
that.
They make those in a laptop. I would assume it's a laptop as just as much as it's a laptop, and I'm kind of like considering all this through the day and then at some point I was like, I need to make something. Like, I'm so bored. I want to so I set up my camera in my kitchen and I got my guitar out and I was like, let's just write a joke right now and we can edit it up. Like, we'll just do, I'm talking to myself here. Like, we'll just make something. And then I just start telling that cupboard joke. And I basically, off the top, in one take on the camera, and it's not the best joke in the world, but it changed everything for me. I was like, kind of like playing the guitar and just like, on my 35th birthday, that's one way I like to write things, by just like giving a thing a time.
Sets the scene.
Yeah. On my 35th birthday, I was having a party and I was in the kitchen. I was working on some dishes. It's one of my favorite pastimes. This guy walks into the kitchen. I never met him before. Must have been a friend of a friend. Who knows how he ended up at the party. It's not part of the story really, but we got to talking and he said, hey, you want to know something interesting? The cupboard is spelled with 2 B's and not a P. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that's fucking crazy. I had no idea. I thought it was a P, but yeah, I've been saying cupboard my whole life. Obviously it's cupboard. Anyway, 3 years go by. 38th birthday, same kitchen, same guy walks in and says, hey, that thing I said about cupboard, it actually is spelled with a P. And that's 3 years I'm never going to get back. I'm just living that cupboard lifestyle, And then I just like stopped and I like rewatched it and I was like, oh, that's a joke, kind of. Like, it makes no sense. There's no, like, it's no understanding, but the timing, the story, the reveal, all of it. And I was like, okay, I need to force myself. Like, if I wouldn't have just said, get in front of the camera and let's make something. So I started recording like
daily.
When if I want to record something, I don't press stop, because the way you can edit something really quickly for Instagram or whatever. It's
what a fucking brilliant, dude. That's, yeah. Think about that for an audition, for anything, just knowing that it's on and then you can kind of don't have a start and stop.
When the red light's on, I'm on. I know it's catching everything. Okay. Like
a little bit of, not anxiety, but, pressure, but in the right way of like, I want to deliver for myself for the purpose of having this as an outlet. And I guess, we get conditioned or we're born to just know that, like, when you're creating, at least control what you can control, which is like, fucking go for it. Right. Hey guys, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast, and I'm sitting down because I got some big news. Usually I'm standing up to do comedy, but I'm sitting down now because I got the deal of a lifetime. First of all, sitting is bad for you. We all know that, whether we're sitting on planes or sitting on a beanbag chair watching porn in front of our kids. There's just too much damage you do on the body. Thankfully, Axion has come up with a chair that allows your pelvis to move the way it does while you walk. So all 33 vertebrae align into perfect posture. The result? Better breathing, better blood flow, and relief from the pain. It's crazy what you can do when you set your body to do it. Now, these guys are homies of mine, My buddy Dennis worked with the Clippers as their doctor for 27 years. He runs a wellness center called Peak Wellness. He's a fucking gangster and has saved me from surgery numerous times. I actually met Justin Bieber at his place. And I was in my boxers getting cupping done. And Bieber and I locked eyes. And I was like, this is how we were supposed to meet. And Bieber smiled, and I never saw him again. But this chair is a game changer. It's changed the way I live. It's changed the way I breathe, the way I sit. And you guys right now can get that chair for 25% off using the promo code ALN25 at all33.com. Go to all33.com and use promo code ALN25 for 25% off this chair. It's incredible. You got to get it. It's the only chair out there to get. We will be getting them for the studio, but don't take my word for it. Check out this video.
At All33, we've always pushed to reimagine the way we work. That's why we designed our revolutionary sit-in-motion technology to help people perform and feel their best. Then all of a sudden, the whole world was free to rethink how we work, and especially where we work. And as Americans came home, so did we. We approached the design of our chairs with a person and planet-first mindset. That's why we chose to build them here in the United States. Manufacturing in the US means we're able to have eyes on every step of the process. From material sourcing to part production to testing, even shipping. And we're able to recycle materials, use less energy, and reduce our carbon footprint. We've built the healthiest chairs you will ever sit in to keep you and the world moving. Because movement makes things happen.
The thing about being creative, I watched this thing recently. You know Jock Peterson, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, stud baseball player. Yeah. Unique, interesting guy. I actually was watching him in the minors. Like, I was obsessed, and then he came up. I went to go get a jersey at Dodger Stadium, his first game, and they didn't even make them. They had to personalize it upstairs. They were like, "You're the first one that's ordered a Jock Peterson jersey." But I watched this lead up to a game recently, and he gets there. And he's taking it he's talking about thoughts, and he's talking about winning mentality, and he's talking about walking barefoot on the field, and he's out walking barefoot on the field, and all the other players are like, what's this guy doing? But he's taking it seriously. That game is everything that day. This is right now, this game is my life. This adds another home run to my thing. This doesn't, and so I want to be part of the field. I want to be part of, if I'm not in it, then I'm not in it. If I just show up and cleat up and walk out and it's another game. And so for me, stand up, everything, every show, every moment is in being in it. And it's that's the most enjoyable part of it, is to really take it all so seriously so that each show can be its own fun thing, right?
In that way, do you get, last night even, and let me just say this first of all again, and I was trying to pay a compliment up top and just start fumbling, but I still get starstruck, even just watching you play and sing, because I have such a vivid memory, Nick, of watching you as a fan on stage, on the Tonight Show, and there's such a really brilliant, comfortable, soft, but assisting way of the way that you play guitar, and the melodies are always for whatever reason perfect for the bit too. I think it's the Instant Messenger bit.
God, yeah, that one.
Which
somebody
fucking
brought that up last night.
Yeah, bro, I put it in the bucket of great bits.
Oh,
I don't know if you do, because it's yours, and maybe it's just no, it was just.
I'm proud of that one. I'm really proud.
Well,
of that.
it was I remember how many people would tell me about it, and then when I saw it, live, and how pumped it was, seeing fucking McCartney play "Let It Be." You know what I'm saying? Because I'll never forget. It was at the Laugh Factory when I think I first saw you live, and I was just starting to start stand up, and I had just seen it online and on TV, and then I was like, whoa! And seeing people go nuts for it was fucking really cool. I'll never forget that. So I have a lot of questions about that. When you, even just that story and putting that together, do you think of the melody? Do you just start playing and then you start talking over it? Do you stop and start and go? Because you definitely hit a few notes that assisted when you said like, oh, and this really happened, and blah, 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 and that wasn't really part of the story, but no. And then you hit something and then went back into like the...
Yeah, there's like moments of, there's the dynamics, of like like playing in a way to where, like people kind of come to you a little bit. But I find what I do is I want to play something that people think, how could he be playing that and talking at the same time? Because that's really a difficult thing to do.
I was going to say,
singing and playing you think is hard, then you start doing it, you're like, oh, it's actually really easy because you can rhythm it out. But to speak at a natural tone and level, and then to play a rhythmic thing, you can't speak naturally to a rhythmic thing. It's going to sound weird. So you have to learn how to do the pat the head, rub the tummy sort of a thing, Wow. So like that's, finding something like this to play and be able to talk, it's like it, and you can play with it, and you can also, find moments to like, add a little thing, but I love it, man. I remember my third album, I decided not to play the guitar really for it, and it was based off of the back of the room. It was based off of feeling like other comedians were like, like this guy, I wanted to prove that I could do it. And then afterwards, I was like, wait, but I love doing it.
What a weird thing to even experience, but also normal. Everybody...
Also great. Like, it's like for the Mark Marons out there that I feel like look at me and they're like, oh, here he comes with his guitar,
Which, by the way, I've learned to assume and understand that when people... And you get taught it the same way you get taught in 5th grade to fucking box out when you're starting to play basketball. The fundamentals and just the like, this is what happens. When people shit on something, it's from an insecurity or of either... And whether they want to announce it or acknowledge it or not, of like, I can't do that, or I wish I could do that, or there's no way it's not from that, which is why I try to adjust my thinking of when I see that or I have felt that to just like, I feel bad for them that they think that.
It's nice when you can flip that.
Totally.
It's a lot of things, really, and it's that everyone's thinking of themselves all the time.
Totally.
They're not considering you, and they're not worried about you. They're worried about them, and why does that bother me that he has that?
Because I remember seeing you live, and as you're doing now, just always how much people enjoy it, being like, "Fuck, that looks so fun," and a little bit of jealousy, but not for the right reasons. Of like, I can't wait to find my thing like this. Of like, because you know what I'm saying? Because you just look so dialed in. Is there are there certain bits that the bit came first and then the DiGiorno delivery bit? One of my faves. Like, was that like the two together you were playing and then you spoke it out, or you kind of...
That was a written...
Yeah.
A lot of them are just written. There's not a lot of spoken out jokes. A lot of jokes get better when I'm on stage because I have the same thing you have, which is fight or flight, and I'm fighting all the time on stage. I am thinking the clearest I've ever thought, and I am ready to turn something into something better. Like I leave room for that. I've learned to not just be stuck on this is how it worked. It has to work again like this, because I have been stuck there. Because my jokes can be so wordy that well, no, this plus this plus this, and it has to be that.
Yeah,
at this timing. And then I find different ways to deliver a joke. And then it's like, oh yeah, when I deliver it that way, I can actually kind of tell it from this perspective, and I can actually add this word that makes it feel, whatever. I don't know.
When you're going at a slower pace too, do you feel like you have more time to kind of connect with the audience? Like almost, you could look at someone from the beginning and middle of or maybe even end of a joke and see the transformation of them listening and following, and then having everything register.
Yeah, I love watching that. I love watching it kind of hit people.
Because I watch people watch you that, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I love it because sometimes some people, it's torn. The table's half and half. They're on this side. They're on this side. And a lot of people are on board for every part, every nuance that I want them to get. And then a lot of them are only there for half of them, which is fine, But I was just thinking, though, the one joke I did write on stage that was one of my best jokes was, and it's so simple, and maybe people will be like, that's not a good joke. But I remember when I did it, the third time I did it, Chelsea Peretti walked up to me afterwards and she's like, that's a good joke.
Awesome.
And it was, I said on stage, I just said out of nowhere, enough is enough. I don't know what I was saying it about. I said enough is enough. And then I paused and I said, it's the same word, spelled the same way. Sick of people not knowing that, And ended up turning into this great joke that was a huge part of my special. Like it's definitely a fan, like fans that are like, man, enough is enough. You know, like it's one of the ones. It's like instant messenger. Like last night, some kid brought that up to me, and it's just like
after the show.
No, beforehand, he was like the guy that introduced David Spade. But he was like, man, instant messenger, and I was like, yeah, if I was a band, I'd play that song every night.
You would.
Yeah. You
don't when you do live shows?
Never. I have never done it.
Never done what?
Since the album.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Since the first album, I've never done that. I couldn't. I don't know. I think about it sometimes. I think about it sometimes, and there's and I have a few bits that like people want to hear, and I'm like, okay, I do like an hour and 15, 20 minutes when I'm on the road, and I do close sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling, with 10 minutes of old stuff. Just like do an hour, and then you guys want to hear some hits, like mix with some newer shit that's not really working, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't say, I mean, that's not what I say. But, you guys want to hear some of the hits?
Oh.
But yeah,
it's how long? But it's like a 5-minute bit.
Yeah, it was like Tonight Show perfect.
Yeah. How much would I have to pay you to do it?
I don't know the words.
Really?
I don't. I did show it to a woman recently.
And? Well, that's a good, by the way. Bravo. That is.
Well, because
that's the first thing you pull up.
Sometimes when I'm dating somebody, like they've never seen my stuff or something, right?
That's cool.
And so they're like aware of what I do.
Yeah.
And they're like nervous to watch something, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, on your own time, you can decide if you want to see something or not. But then after a while, if I really care about it, I'm like, hey, do you want to see one thing I'm really proud of? You know, and I'll start to like show them things that I'm proud of.
Cool.
And that's one of them.
Take them to a restaurant, do the on the house chicken joke.
That's
that's
first date.
That's
not.
Yeah.
I mean,
get that out of the way.
Yeah. There's some things you got to just do.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. That is.
But did you hear the bit that I did last night at the end about the fake or the hiring the private investigator?
No. Was that after Loose Lips Sink Ships?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is an unbelievable bit.
Yeah. That's a big applaud scenario on the road.
Did you do that one?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ever heard it? Great. I love you.
And like playing guitar as if it's like a.
You're a really good guitar player, by the way. Which helps, like, obviously.
Yeah, I've learned how to be a decent guitar player and not make it a big deal. You know, like I can
perfectly said.
Find my little things.
Yep.
You know, my son listens to me. He pays attention to what I say, which I find odd because I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. Recently, we were in my truck and I was driving him to drop him off at his mom's house. We had just had some ice cream. It was in the afternoon. And I said, hey, buddy, maybe don't tell your mom about the ice cream. Because you know what they say, loose lips sink ships. And he said, what does loose lips sink ships mean? And I thought to myself, I've got no fucking idea. I don't know. I've heard people say it enough to where I started saying it, and that's how I learn words, you know. But you don't tell that to a kid. He wants to know, and he's going to get it. He's going to get it from me. So I said, that's a great question, son. You're so fucking inquisitive. Here's what it means. Loose lips sink ships. A long time ago, a gentleman set sail. He was looking for a new world, a new land that nobody thought existed. He was coming from Europe. He was looking for this new world that nobody knew about except for the people who were already living there at the time. And then he found it, son. It was America. It's where you were born. What a lot of people don't know, though, is that there was another ship that took off before that ship, and they would have found America first, except everybody died because the captain told his mom about the ice cream. So loose lips sink ships. Are you on Team Dad or are you a little fucking snitch? Because I'll tell you right now what snitches don't get. It's trampolines. And as far as I can tell, buddy, I'm the only guy that you know that knows where to buy them. And the Lord provided a trampoline. But I'll tell you what he didn't provide is the net. That's man-made. So when you get that trampoline, you're not getting a net. If you die, that's what God wanted. That's what Abraham said. I don't know. Sometimes I take it that far. The Abraham part people don't always go down that.
How fucking funny is that? Dude, that's just like, I can't even wrap my head around that. That's so fucking funny. So that happened. Just give me some backstory on it, right? I'm sure that conversation.
Yeah.
In a way?
I said loose lips sink ships to him, and he said, what does that mean?
Great.
And then I just wrote that.
That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I thought about like, how many times I do say things. Because I'll send you this thing. I made a pilot that I'm selling right now. I'll send.
Fuck
it's
yeah.
just, it's a short sizzle reel or
Great.
whatever. But I use that joke in it, and I use this other thing that really happened where I look on his iPad once, and I look in the history of his YouTube, and I see that he's seen a flat Earth video, and I'm just like, fuck. Like, I don't think I've ever even mentioned to him that the Earth is round yet. Like, and this is how he's hearing about it. That this guy that looks kind of like his dad, maybe even better looking, just told him that the Earth is flat. And
he's gonna trust hotter dad.
Yeah, can you imagine too? Like looking, like you see that, then you look down and you're like, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty fucking flat to me. Like it's kind of flat every fucking where, to be honest.
So this guy's got really firm biceps.
Yeah.
and
he knows. And then I'm like, so I got to pull him aside and be like, hey, buddy, you know the Earth's round, right? And now I sound like some hippie round earther, he's just like, yeah, sure, Dad. I'm like, no, it's round, man. And it's spinning around, and it's because of, gravity, and it's pulling, and it's flat. I think it might be flat. I think that guy's onto something. And I think maybe we should go find someone smarter to talk us through this.
Oh my God.
Or whatever. But, like actually realizing that I don't know how to explain some of the most easy, basic stuff.
Is that kind of what the pilot is?
Yeah, and so I want to learn things to teach him things.
Sold.
Yeah.
Oh man, I fucking hope you're gonna sell that.
You don't work for a network, do you? Because that would be great.
No, but I want to help you
shit.
in any way or fashion to get that made. That's so fucking funny. But I mean, look, to also just have the thought of, I can't believe I haven't showed him or taught him that yet, is a very real, relatable, not thought of a lot thing of just like, I mean, just speaking from my having my nieces, and like, they're about to be 13, and the things they've asked, like one of them just asked me last week, like, do you get teased more in high school than in middle school? And I was like, I'm going to speak from personal experience, and then also try to not just be like, yeah, it's a fucking dogfight. Mm-hmm. It's a shit show. You better keep your head up in those hallways.
Worst 3 years of my life, kid.
I'm just
get ready.
Yeah, fucking. You better hope those boobs come in sooner than later. And not like me and have them in the 4th grade and on the wrong body. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
it was like.
When did you get the reduction?
Still waiting for it, man. It's costly. Also, the doctor I knew moved, and if you could back this up with a little guitar, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. So look, when I was a kid, I didn't know yet that Pop-Tarts were as good as they were. In the commercial, you can't tell that they're going to be as tasty as when they hit your mouth and are dipped in some Cool Whip and or fudge. I remember my nickname was Cool Whip for a little bit before it was changed to Van, Gay Ray, Jello Jiggler, and finally Penis and Tits Kid.
That was my first email address.
Yahoo or AOL?
AOL. Now I'm just hotmailguy@gmail.com.
And the funny thing about emails is you get them, you send them, sometimes from people you know and care about, and sometimes from a prince.
I BCC Stevie Wonder on all my emails. He just wants to know what I'm up to, but I respect his privacy.
And has he gotten back? No, not because he doesn't want to.
Yeah. He can't read.
My favorite thing to do when I smoke pot is call my dad. His favorite thing to do when I smoke pot is to not pick up.
Interesting. You guys are on that same page.
My dad does love Naked and Afraid. He said to me once while watching the show, I love the way their boobs bounce when their butts jiggle. And I've never been more afraid in my life because my dad was naked.
Good reveal. One of the first jokes I wrote was a reveal kind of like that, where I was still in Seattle and I was like figuring out what I was doing, I was telling the story about how I got gum stuck in my hair, and it was all based around how peanut butter, eventually got it out. But I got home from school, and my dad wasn't home yet from work, and my mom was there, and she ran ice all over it. She was trying to get it out, and finally she pulled the scissors out. She's going to cut the hair out, Then I heard the garage door open. My dad pulled in from work. He walked in, grabbed the scissors out of her hand, threw it out the window. Side note, window was closed. And he said, Cindy, peanut butter. I don't know. But like this, the side note, window was closed. It was like this big laugh. And I was like, oh, that's a good reveal. Okay.
Man. You're so good, dude. We got a few minutes left. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, my son. The thing about what you're saying about like the niece and stuff.
Oh yeah, what was
my son did say to me, there are things that are like fucking real in big moments where, like he at one time just said to me, "What's death?" And I'm thinking like, man, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Whoa, at what age?
This was like 4 or 5.
So the inquisitiveness begins about then.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of times what I like to do too is I ask him, what do you think it is?
Whoa.
And he put some real thought, and his response was bones in the dirt. And I thought, what a poetic, I don't know if it gets better than that explanation. That's what death is, man. Bones in the dirt.
Oh my God, dude. That's like fucking oddly prolific and like, but also at that age too, right? There's no block.
No, so
it's just like,
and a lot of times that no block brings out sentences and things that you're just like, brilliant.
Kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
My nephew, when he met Brad, who's again a 4'4" juggernaut of a comedian and human, a little person, he goes, "What happened?" Valid question, by the way. And Brad goes, I didn't eat my vegetables," which was a great response.
Uh-huh.
And he freaked out.
Yeah.
Because he thought, so if I...
He's probably going to think, that'll be a remember. That's like a youth like throw up moment where you always remember when you threw up. It's like...
You think he threw up after that?
Maybe.
Because he's allergic to little people?
Yeah.
Or he's like, wow, if I deny broccoli anymore.
I remember the first time I met Brad, he introduced me at the... No, I introduced him at the Laugh Factory.
Nice.
And... Wait, no, what the fuck happened? Oh, no, he introduced me. And his final joke was, he said, I can't jerk off if I'm sitting down or something. Like, he had some joke about, like, because of the way his arms are.
Yep.
Unless I'm standing up or something. And I opened up, I go, thanks, Chad. I didn't know it was Brad. I thought it was Chad.
Yeah.
And I go, interesting thing is he also can't jerk me off unless he's standing up. And he, from the back room, he goes, thanks, Rick. It was so funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Lifelong friendship.
Yeah.
So funny. Before we close this out, where specials, albums, people can get all that where?
It's out there. And
type in Nick Thune.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think all of my specials, like one of them's on Netflix, one of them's on Amazon. Folk Hero, Good Guy.
Yes.
Thick Noon was my first album. Those are all the past. Those are the old me.
Yeah.
The new me is on the road. Look me up. I don't really know where yet.
You're putting it together?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind
just
of
getting
just
back
like
going
always
too.
doing dates. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll do a little run and then stick around town a little bit. And then has your son come on the road yet and seen you live? I
just took him up to Oxnard.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And
he was at the Levity. He just hung out in the green room the whole set.
He watch?
He came out. He poked out. I brought him to a set once, and it was so funny because he wrote a joke once. He said something so funny. I was like, dude, that's kind of a joke. That's pretty good. We were in the fruit section of a store, and he was like, I don't like apples, but I do like the stickers. Some like joke about the stickers, and I was like, it's a great joke. So he's like, tell my joke on stage. And
awesome.
And I did, and it was and I remember he was in the back of the room, and I looked back at him, and he goes, and it was like he was like saying like, you're doing a great job, Dad. Like it was all in there, and I just remember seeing him being like, oh my God,
heart melted.
Yeah, what a beautiful.
Wow,
I taught him how to write a joke. I was teaching him. I gave him like an hour-long lesson, and we worked during the pandemic where I was like, here's the best thing is I'm not very smart, okay, but I'm smarter than the people that don't know what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so if I'm thinking something they don't know about it, I can surprise them.
Love that.
And I can even surprise smarter people than me if I'm like, you know, whatever. So I have how all these things prepared, and that's why people laugh at them, because they're surprises that they don't see coming. So I just take a simple thing and I find what do all people know about it, and then how do I alter that slightly, right? And so I'm like, what do you want to write a joke about? And he's like, luck. We talk about luck, right? Because he had opened up an umbrella inside. And so we start breaking down luck, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, if you break a mirror, it's like 7 years bad luck. They put a time on that, which is interesting. There's not times on all, you know, you walk under a ladder. We go through all the luck things.
Right.
And also he's been on a big dog trip, like dogs and how old they are and how old's his dog and dog years. And the joke that he ended up writing fully on his own, not my assistance at all, is if a dog opens up an umbrella inside, he gets 1 year bad luck. Or if he breaks a mirror, basically he was doing a play on dog years and bad luck. And it was really good. Wow. And I messed his joke up. But
he will be yelping and commenting.
But it was like, I was like, that's it, man. That's it.
Fucking cool, man.
I don't know. I'd be cool if he wanted to be a comedian.
That was my next question.
He's in my pilot. He acts in it.
Yeah, I think you gotta showcase that relationship.
But the thing is, I don't know if I could. It was so stressful to be a dad and act and be like the guy running the show. But
is he proud of you? Is he like at an age where he like lets you know, and like, do you guys have that type of? I mean, him giving you a thumbs up is pretty fucking special. Yeah,
he told me, he was like, you know, my friends at school said that you're famous, and I'm like, why would they think that? And it's just because he told them I was in a movie that they know of. That's a Marvel movie that I can't even remember the name of it now. With Tom Hardy. Why can't I think of it?
Do we know that one? Is it Beach Boy or no?
Yeah, one of them. Anyway, I'm in this movie, and
I just said Beach Boy.
He thinks I'm famous because of that. And I go, well, what about my stand-up? And he's like, well, you're not known for that.
Bro, you got it.
It wasn't even a burn. It was like in his world. He's like, I'm known for that one part in that movie.
Bro, that's I mean, God, see, like that. That's a fucking great joke.
Yeah, people don't know you for
that. Him being so, just like having that's because. I don't know. That sounds like an adult comment to come from a kid. Like, you're not known for that, dude. Like, it's just.
I've always spoken to him like an adult. I've never done like kid talk. A lot of my friends' do that with their kids. Like, even when they're like babies, I never altered the tone of my voice when I spoke to them.
Whoa. And it's paid dividends, you think?
I don't know. I just hate hearing people do it.
Yeah.
It's like talking to dogs. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
We're here. We can hear you.
Oh, I talk to my dog Pickles like she's a person. And when I got real high and couldn't find the keys, I, probably talked to her a little bit too much like a person. Being like, fucking, I know you saw where I put these.
Look at you over there. You know where the keys are. Yeah.
Not saying anything, huh? Uh-huh. Wow. Well, we'll see who gets fucking bacon on Christmas. Yeah. And we're a Jewish family. But
interesting.
All right. So we're going to end this with a Inside the Actor Studio 10 questionnaire. Right. R.I.P. James Lipton. You no doubt would have been on the show, so we're gonna.
He would have loved it.
He would have loved you.
Yeah.
Did you watch Lipton ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're gonna get to know Nick Thune with 10 quick questions. Here we go. Feel free to answer as jokey or as honest as you want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here with Nick Thune. Nick, what is your favorite word?
Chalant.
Use it in a sentence.
I've never been chalant my whole life.
Perfect. What is your least favorite word?
Tuna.
Is it also your least favorite food?
Yes.
Perfect. What turns you on?
Sincerity.
Where does she work?
Houston's.
There was only one other restaurant you could have said that would have made me laugh.
Red Robin.
If you want truly bottomless fries, sincerity will hook it up. What turns you off, Nick?
Gossip.
What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
I'm very sensitive with noises. But I think birds chirping is probably one of my favorites.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Chewing, like people chomping on chips.
Oh, yeah, I fucking hate that. Like in a movie
it's
or like
hard.
real life?
In life, just people eating is hard for me. I have like that.
Oh, really?
Like miso, whatever it's called. I don't know. I don't know if it's a real thing.
Oh.
Yeah, miso soup. I have that. Doctors said, where'd you get this? I hadn't been to a restaurant. I don't know.
Wait, for what has it ever become a thing where you're like, someone's chewing so aggressively, maybe like at a Super Bowl party?
Certain people do chew. No, I have done a lot of personal work on why that gives me anxiety, why it makes me angry, all the things, and also that it's no one else's problem except mine. So my choice is to take myself out of situations where I'm feeling that. So like if somebody eats really horribly, like, and there are people that do, to my standards, chomping, mouth open, loud, that's my friend that I get coffee with. That's not my friend I get lunch with.
Wow. Good way to do it. That way you don't lose out on the friendship, but you don't have to gain. And
you don't say to like, hey man, do you mind chewing your mouth closed? Because you look like a fucking animal. Like,
yeah. I think you can do that with family.
Some people, my son, but I also don't want to give him such a hard time. But since I hate stuff like that so much, I'm just like, man, there's a few things that if I can get you to do it right, people are going to be like, he'll like you.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah. We're not good at that.
My nieces struggle hard. If they're watching, by the way, you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
I've even tried to bribe them. Doesn't work.
No.
Because you don't want to be the bad breath kid, but you also don't want to be the fucked up fang kid.
Well, I mean, if you have bad breath, some people just have it.
Halitosis, right?
There's no getting around it.
Yeah. There was a comic, I won't say his name. He's not really even doing stand-up anymore. We actually think he got kidnapped by his girlfriend.
Mm.
That's another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a crime doc that we should shoot.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. He's out there. Bad breath.
Mm.
Tough to be around. Don't think he could control it.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick aside, would you rather have bad breath or a tiny wiener?
Tiny wiener.
Great. Nick, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Worst game show ever, by the way. There's no prize. It's just...
I mean, bad breath is like all day. Tiny wiener just comes out, whenever.
Yeah. And it's, historically,
people... got to get good at some other shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I would see people hitchhike and they're, thumbs out, like, are they playing heads up, 7-up, or are they looking for a ride?
Yeah.
Maybe both. If you're asking for a ride, this can't be your face.
No.
And I would see that when I first moved to L.A., up certain freeways. And yeah, you're like, wow, how fast were you going that you had time to clock their facial expression? Pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's traffic, which makes you feel even worse.
Yeah, you're like, sorry.
Yeah. And
hey, like, still sorry from a minute ago.
When it's all good. You're having a full-on conversation. That car, 2 cars in front of you look like he'd be down. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hey, where are you headed, by the way? Detroit.
Oh, man. I am actually headed to... Well, I guess I am going through Detroit. Fuck.
I'd have to move my bag, though. It's in the back seat, but I have to move it to the front so that you know that I really can't take you. But it's a big... I have a thing with also strangers getting in my car who've talked to me for longer than 90 seconds.
Yeah. You ever picked up a hitchhiker?
Thought about it. I thought about it once because a guy told me a story once where he pulled over. Oh, God. This was at my first, L.A. hangout in Manhattan Beach. I got invited to a friend's barbecue, and I sat down at the bonfire pit and sat down. I brought over a couple of drinks for people. It was one of those things where people looked at me like, hey, it's Andy's friend. I sat down, and he goes, yeah, I almost picked up this hitchhiker the other day. And we're like, oh, what happened? He goes, we slowed down. Guy walked over, and then we fucking took off. And I go, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, not that I wanted to go find that guy and bring him to the party and let him beat the shit out of that guy, but it made me go, maybe I'll grab the next one I see. because of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've done it.
You have?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I've done it. I pull over when a car's pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, what's up? You guys, like, not because I want to be going down as like a good person, just because those are sometimes some of the most interesting things in my life happen in those moments.
Have you met friends from that? Made friends from that?
Yeah, I've people that I've seen, over and over again that have,
Wow.
Or I've also been like, caught up to me later in life, like, hey, my buddy just found out I'm friends with you, and I guess one time you like pulled over and offered help, and he was just like, yeah, or something, and I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, you want to be on the receiving end of those.
Yeah.
Hey, my friend knows this one time you like threw an all-sport at his head, like waiting in line because he cut in front of you in the B group at Southwest.
That's the problem, man. Is that if you're mean to one person, at a restaurant somewhere, like if you have a moment and they know who you are, and they know it's somebody, like I know a comedian that I think is such a great guy, but I also know somebody whose sister got into a car accident with him, and he was a prick to her.
Oh.
And I was just like, that sucks.
That kind of way, you kind of look at him through a different set of
like,
goggles.
Oh yeah, I can see. No, I don't, because I'm forgiving with people. I think, but not everybody is, and most people suck, and most people like think every moment that we live is defining us for every other moment, but it's not.
Mic drop. I wish we could end on that, but I have two more questions.
Mm-hmm.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Architect.
What profession would you not like to do?
I can't do restaurants. I have a hard time being around the food and service, and like it's
people waiting on you.
People just like not. People look at, some people are just assholes to the service industry, and I have a hard time like not having eye contact with people and respect. And sometimes people are so shitty to those people. I would just be like, it would throw me under. I would feel horrible. I don't know.
Yeah, my Aunt Shirley used to do this a lot. I mean, she was old, but and I think that's why she thought she could get away with it. Before she passed, she was dating a guy in her home named, she goes, I have a sometimes boyfriend right now. I go, what does that mean? She goes, yeah, actually, do you mind giving me something for this?
Mm-hmm. Let's change keys here.
I love you. So my Aunt Shirley just passed, R.I.P. Shirley. Pour one out for Shirley. Don't pour one for her. She, like I said, if you don't know what R.I.P. means, it means she's dead. She won't be able to taste it. But pour one out. I actually don't know why we pour one out for them. It seems oddly disrespectful to ruin a rug or a floor with prune juice she loved. I digress. Shirley was 96, I believe, or maybe that was her favorite year.
She just likes not sucking someone's dick while someone doesn't eat her out.
Oh, man. If I could have one superpower, it'd be to bring back my aunt from being dead so that she could hear that joke. And then, she lived a full life, so she could die right after that again. But fuck, that was funny.
I hope somebody says that joke at my funeral. Remember Nick said once off the top of his head.
So she goes, Adam, I have a sometimes boyfriend right now. And I go, what does that mean, Shirley? And she goes, sometimes we hold hands. I go, that's the cutest shit I've ever fucking heard. Except for that time I heard that bird and that raccoon making out.
Sometimes we hold hands.
And I said, what's his name, Shirley? And she goes, without skipping a beat, Dick. To which I said, I didn't ask why you were dating him. Oh, stop that. I go, what is Dick's last name, Shirley? And again, without missing a beat, Justice. I go, you're dating Dick Justice? Did you meet him before or after he was a detective/gay porn star? I go, I got to meet this guy.
Is he David Justice's brother?
I go, I got to meet Dick Justice. She goes, you can't. He died 6 days ago. That's my life. I make friends, and then they die. I go, fuck.
Stay away from her.
You've heard of the Midas touch? I go, fuck. She goes, you know I don't like that language. I go,
English?
I go, Shirley, you never curse? She goes, only when I'm by myself and I drop something. To which I say, so you mean like, fuck, the pasta salad? She goes, you know I don't eat pasta.
But I do like salads.
So if it's potato.
I hate a potato salad.
You hate it?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just the look of it. I don't want that.
Now imagine you perform at a comedy club full of potato salads, and they look at you, and somebody gets up and walks out and goes, I'm out of here. But why? I don't like the look of them.
I guess that would hurt.
Nick, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Is it just so, like he can say a whole sentence?
What, dude? Yeah, floor is yours.
Hey, man, we're just been kind of keeping things clean up here for you since you're actually God. I don't know if you knew that. Welcome.
Perfect.
Yeah. He's home.
Nick Thune. Man, that was one of the most fun pods I've done in a long time. At Nick Thune on Instagram and Twitter, right?
Yeah. I thought that was just personal for me that it was the most fun, but you're saying that for everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Truly. Type in Nick on Google, Amazon, Netflix. Enjoy it all. Go see him live, nickthune.com.
I'm going to go there.
Great. Instagram and Twitter.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. This was great.
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun.
And didn't even hit a lot of things I wanted to hit, so part two coming.
Can't wait.
I love you.
Love you
Go
too.
Mariners. Zoa. Thanks, Rock. Guys, Adam Ray here for the About Last Night podcast. Hope you enjoyed that episode. It was a good one. A lot of laughs, a lot of tears, a lot of stuff to think about and chew on, huh? Because that's what life's all about. Chewing on the good stuff. Nobody said that. Maybe Denzel did. Maybe Tom Hanks did. Maybe they said it together in Philadelphia. The point is, click subscribe right here on the ALN logo so you can get more episodes and stay up to date when new content drops. Highlights, animations, clips. It's all here for you, baby. I'll see you next time. Whoop, I don't know how to blink.